All right. All right, Mike, thanks for joining me today. I just want to do a quick testimonial with you after you finish the 12-week golf course. Just to start off, what was your situation before we started working together?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Good to see you today. I'm a periodic golfer. I go to the gym on a regular basis, but I was looking to really figure out a way to how to improve my golf game. Specifically for me, the biggest challenge I faced was my balance, and I would always try to swing hard, and I would often be off balance when I started hitting the ball and playing golf. And obviously, that's not where you want to be if you're trying to, shoot a decent score. So my biggest concern was about my balance when I first started taking the course, and I wanted to figure out how I could improve my balance and see how it impacted my golf game.
Perfect. So that first day that you came for a demo, what made you decide that, this is a program that I want to do?
Well, you mentioned the importance of balance in the golf swing, and we had done some initial drills. It just, working on the balance and just based on that initial drill, which was stretching my ankles, I was able to hit the ball a lot better in some practice swings in at your facility. And so I saw immediate payback from that. And that's what really got me excited about the course.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest things with the neuro stuff is understanding like if something's helping you right away or if something's making you worse right away and knowing how to implement that stuff in your like daily movement practice and also specifically for like weightlifting and golf, right? That's a big piece of it. So, what do you feel like after the 12 weeks had changed for you physically?
Well, to take a step back, the thing that really sold me on the course was, look, I'm 60 years old, and the key principles that I had heard from you were around working on my balance,
Hmm.
working on joint mobility and core strength. So, you know, even if my golf game didn't improve, I think for a 60-year-old, those are all key factors that you want to keep on working on um, for just everyday living anyway, right? So, that was the point that really sold me, being able to improve my performance around balance, core strength, and joint mobility, because I knew that would benefit me for the remainder of my life.
Perfect. Yep, exactly. And like, that's my whole saying is that taking care of your joints is like brushing your teeth. And whether you're 60 or older or even younger, like a lot of people don't know these joint mobility drills. Was there any like, specific joints you were unaware of that we targeted that you're like, I can't believe these things are maybe important or that we would even consider them as part of things for performance?
Well, it's really all the joints, right? And I'm still working on my joint mobility through all the joints, but it was really interesting to one, learn the theory behind sensory input and how that impacts the motor output, right? And I'm seeing improvements there. But anywhere from starting with my ankles and going up through all the joints, I'm still working on the ankles. I didn't quite realize that, maybe when I was younger and twisted my ankles, I was still protecting that joint,
Sure.
right? And I needed to, gain greater flexibility to, not have my body keep on protecting that joint, and which gave me greater mobility, right? So, I think the way we began was starting at the lower extremities, like the ankles and knees, and moving to the hips,
Hmm.
and then, the wrists, the elbows, the shoulders, and finally the back. I didn't realize how critical increasing your joint mobility for the back is, right? I always looked at mobility as, say, a shoulder or an elbow or an ankle, but actually, freeing up the back and the rib cage is also important learning for me because in all honesty, you're using those joints throughout, your day and especially playing golf.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have some limiting factors, then you have to get that motion from somewhere else, or create that power
Yeah.
somewhere else if you're missing it. And then I like what you said about the ankle because a lot of times, like people will sprain their ankle, have an injury like somewhere else in their body, and maybe they did rehab at the time or physical therapy, or maybe they didn't, and then that incomplete rehab really can affect them, and they have no idea that it's even affecting them. So that's a perfect thing that you said there.
Right. And what builds on that too is your teaching around how sensory inputs impact motor performance,
Hmm.
right? And I never realized the degree to which that is true, right? And there's a lot of different sensory inputs we went through, whether, visual, hearing, smell, that actually had a significant improvement on the motor outputs, right? On how much I could move, how flexible I was. And those are nice warm-up drills to be involved with to immediately impact how you could perform, say, in swinging a golf club or the range of motion you could get out of it, right? So I think that was also critical, understanding sort of mental maps on how different sensory inputs will, positively impact physical performance.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people think that the way to get more mobile is by stretching, and it's cool to say I have 30 seconds before I have my tee shot, and I know that smelling something on the correct side makes my rotation 30 degrees further or something crazy like that. These are the types of things that we're seeing in the course, right? So I love showing that to people so that they have other options besides stretching, right? And maybe even
Right. And
better
and 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 those inputs actually are significant, right? Like now I could fully turn my back towards the target when I swing a golf club, where
yeah.
before I couldn't,
Yeah.
so it leads to immediate results.
Awesome. I love that. So what did you particularly enjoy about working with me in the course?
Well, how much I learned and how much of what you're teaching is based on neurological science and how that impacts the body, right? So it was a good learning experience, and I think the pace of learning was also good. We spent a lot of time up front on, again, the sensory input and
Yeah.
neurological mapping, and then we worked through different joints throughout the course of the program, and eventually incorporating in key elements around improving core strength.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it was spread out over a 12-week period because it was easily digestible, right? You could build on concepts
Mhm.
and you could incorporate different aspects of the training into your routine and build them in on a regular basis. And, success begets success. And as you're doing this, you could see increased performance and better outputs. And it makes it easier to increase elements on an ongoing basis as you're learning this at one time.
So one of the things that we didn't mention was like we do a lot of the resistance breathing training in the course, and I got some good feedback from you on that I remember. So what was the results that you saw from the core strength work with the breathing exercises?
Yeah, training the breathing muscles, I didn't realize how critical that was to the core strength, especially in the back, and also in the stomach muscles and the side muscles. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the side muscles, but
Obliques, QL.
obliques, yeah, and the muscles in the stomach. And for me, I've been doing sit-ups for a long time. And once I started doing the resistance breathing on both the exhale and inhale, I could see an immediate difference in my body, and it's something I keep up. I would actually prefer to do that rather than sit-ups at this point because it's you're activating the muscles. I was never aware of how critical both the inhale muscles are as well as the exhale muscles for increasing both core strength as well as flexibility, right? So, for example, a lot of the rib cage and the lower and the not lower, but the back mobility is driven by resistance on the inhale, right? And that's something I just never knew, but expanding your rib cage and freeing up the back, makes swinging the golf club a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone looks at the core muscles as just like what do they do from like a movement perspective as far as like, doing a crunch, doing a sit up. Obviously for um golf, it's a big focus on rotation, which is important. But if you can map those muscles with the breathing, like I didn't know, I was a personal trainer for years before I learned about the breathing muscles.
Hmm.
It's not like common knowledge that all of these muscles in your trunk are actually, inhalation muscles, exhalation muscles, and they can be trained that way. And then it also, kind of goes over into things like makes your sit-ups better, makes your core strength better for golf, especially too, right? So it can actually make those things easier too. But yeah, I mean, I prefer to do them over crunches as well because it's just
Yeah, absolutely.
better results, less stress on my spine with it. And it just helps me with the golf swing better, which is the whole goal with the golf group. Um,
Yeah, and increasing the core strength, with the obliques and the stomach muscles and the back muscles, you're exactly right. It takes a lot of pressure off of your spine. And like for me, for example, I sit at the desk a lot during the day,
yeah.
and lower, I had pain in my lower right back, after sitting all day. It wasn't bad, but if I did that and then maybe played around a golf in the evening,
Mhm.
it could go up to like a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
And so far I played a couple times this year, and it's been with the pain level on my lower back. It hasn't been there. It's been a 0 because, I attribute a lot of it to increased flexibility and also increased core strength.
Love that. That's amazing. Um, so who would you recommend to go through the 12-week golf course?
Well, I said before, I'm 60, right? So anybody, in my situation at my age, is an immediate candidate because it's going to benefit you for the balance, the core strength, and the joint mobility, regardless.
Yep.
But anybody who's looking to improve on their balance and their flexibility would be an ideal candidate. So, definitely people who are older who don't have the range of motion anymore,
Yep.
I think would benefit it. But, even younger people who want to um, get stronger and also maintain flexibility throughout the course of their life, right? Because it's just not taught to us. Whether, I played sports when I was young, and what we would do before practice, right? Stretch our hamstrings, stretch your groins, and that would be it, right? And, maybe stretch the quads or the front of your legs, right? And that was it. And, you know, it, the sports programs I was involved with, they weren't teaching us about joint mobility, So, and joint mobility gives you, longevity for playing sports and being able to do more, and it gives you more flexibility throughout the golf swing as well.
Love that. Any other things that changed for you that we didn't mention in the 12 weeks or since?
No, I think that my balance is much better in the golf when I've been playing so far. So I think that's been a big improvement. But no, not really. I mean,
Okay.
I think we talked a lot about them.
Or most of it? Okay, good. Anything else you want to add that we didn't discuss?
Yeah, I think the key thing is, I've been educated by you, and I do appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to continuing to see what else I could learn in terms of increasing my strength and stamina and, looking at maybe how I could also further continue to increase my balance and flexibility. So I want to, keep on learning. So thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, the 12-week course, as we've talked about, is kind of like this is like an introductory into the world of brain-based training and neuro and how effective it could be. And then it kind of exposes that there's a lot more to be learned, right? So there's other things with that aren't in the course, but it's a great like starting place for people. So I love that. But thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your time, and I definitely appreciate you going through the course. And I'm happy you got the results that you got, and looking forward to working together more in the future too.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
All right, thanks.
All right.